First of all, we're going to talk about segmenting your population. One of the most serious mistakes that are generally made around the table here are how you deal with seniors. Seniors are a huge voting bloc, and they vote. And many of them are on fixed incomes. Fortunately, I have acquired the status of senior, and so I don't have to go to the polls anymore. They mail me my ballot. So I just sit at the island, my wife and I, okay, what do you think? Okay, let's boom, 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 mail them in. Done. Every senior has the option of getting that in the mail and sending it in. Segmentation. The right message to the right person. Age, understanding your senior vote. What do you know about these people? This is just a little bit of information. Grand Rapids, 55 and up, 58.8% were in the 55 and up category. I don't know why we're so, well, we went in the general election, so we only had 30% seniors. College of mainland Texas, 50%. Lorraine, 34%. And another 60%. But anyway, you can see that particularly if you go off-cycle, you're inviting seniors to be the overwhelming component of that vote. At this point, I'm going to call upon Sue Montesi, who is going to talk about, she is the Dean for Learning Centers and Innovative Projects at Delta, and has been quite an innovator in communicating with her community. She's going to talk about that senior vote.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Are you boomers? Zoomers? What are you? You know? Well, let's talk a little bit about this senior vote, because it is such a critical issue to all of us. And we look around the room, and I know many of you are going to be able to relate to this group, because I'm also part of it just like you are. But the interesting thing is that there's no common definition of this word seniors. You will find that some organizations started at 50. In fact, AACC has started as 50. They call it the Plus 50 program that they've initiated. If you look at Social Security, it's in flux. You know, it used to be 62. You could get reduced benefits 65. Now, if you're like me, it's 66, and that's growing. There are others that think of it somewhere in the 60 age, but I'm here to recommend to you that all the research says start thinking of your seniors as 50. That's where you need to consciously start to work with this group. Don't wait until they're 60. Don't wait till 62. 50 is when psychologically you and I, with our frame of reference to age, start thinking, this might be the next generation for us. This might be the second act for us. This might be whatever it is in. But you will start thinking a little bit differently when you hit that magic 50. So my recommendation to you is, if you're looking at senior programs, start there. Larry's already talked about the senior voter block. Just if you look at last time alone, most of us have put our efforts into our student vote. If you look at in Michigan, our students, if they're between ages 18 and 24, which is yet the largest block in our academic programs, we are lucky in a presidential vote if a third of them will get out and vote. That's the max. If we're talking about an off-presidential, we're lucky if 20% will vote. Seniors are consistent, 2/3 of them vote. And that block is growing, and it is growing, and it is growing. Fact number one, 25 to 30% of every community in Michigan is at least 50 plus. They will make up a minimum of 30 to 60% of all your voters. Few of them will ever become a credit student for you. And if you look back in their history, however, that's growing as far as the number who will have been. And many activities that are on fixed incomes. Your message, your challenge is how to convey college benefits. I guess I would ask all of you, have any of you had a dialogue, I know I'm about to talk to Jean about this, just with your executive staff, of how can every unit at your college get connected to your senior population? Have you ever asked as a president for your people to think about doing that? In other words, if you've got a nursing program, it's obvious how they can get connected. Even if they're out there volunteering to do free blood pressure checks in your senior one day a semester, even if it's your music class and getting out and doing something. But I don't want you to limit your thinking to senior centers. I don't want you to limit your thinking to that word just seniors. Think of these people as, when I said to you, are you a boomer or a zoomer? People who are 50 plus don't like, from 50 to 65, they don't like the word senior citizens. I would tell you to get rid of it out of your vernacular. Don't call them senior citizens. If they're over 65, 70, 75, it's okay. But it's not good to call them senior citizens. They like to be thought of themselves as, mature learners, that's okay, but you and I both know that ageism is another one, just like sexism or racism. It's the isms that you want to avoid. Remember, aging is a process. It's dynamic. It shouldn't be thought of as static. And you really don't want to think of your people as all in the same category. Because the critical issues for seniors are certainly, these are the top three, by the way. You can bring those back to your group, get them to dialogue about it. Physical and mental health in all of the research is still their number one concern. You can't almost listen to television in one week and not hear something about dementia or Alzheimer's. Most of us, even I don't know if any of you use this in your phrase, go, oh, it must be early Alzheimer's. Have you ever done that? Or, ooh, I hope it's not the beginning of that. Because we do that. Some memory loss is, yes, expected, but the new brain research is phenomenal. You need to get that word out to people. One of my most popular programs last year is this whole new brain exercise called neurobics. It's a whole new field of science called neurobics, how to make new connections in the brain. I opened that up, and after 50 people, because the room was big enough, in 3 days I had 50 people, and I needed to repeat it twice. So in 2 weeks, I did that program 3 times. Financial concerns. It's not limited to people who are younger in the mortgage situation. One of the big things right now is some of the economic scams that are going out there with seniors. I would encourage you to get your college together, like we did something in our lecture theater where we got people together about financial concerns. It was called Making Sense Out of These Financial Times. And we got a panel of people there, and it was very well attended, about 170 seniors I think we got out that day. And it was a free program that we did. Lifestyle and relationships, this is their third concern. They want to maintain independence. And I really shouldn't be saying they, I should be saying we all along, because it's a concern that we all have, is maintaining our independence. So I want to encourage you to think of that in the core of all the things that you plan. Certainly with lifestyle, we're also interested in grandparents, certainly, and we're also interested in things that enrich our lives. Too many of our programs for people, seniors, have been in the past limited to thinking, oh, they wanted to just be entertained. Oh, they just wanted to do something with their time. It's really changed. If you look at the stats of the boomers that are coming through, by the way, there's 78 million boomers. They are about to change the face of what you and I have thought about as seniors. 4 or 5 of them right now in the latest survey say that they expect to work after age 65. Wow. What are you doing to introduce them to the world of work after age 65, the financial implications, the part-time options, how to present those to people? If you have a small business institute like we do at Delta, it's part of Michigan, I'd encourage you to partner with them to do programs that are only directed at the 50-plus population, because we are different. What we choose to do, you've probably heard about Encore Careers. It's a big thing right now with MetLife Foundation, et cetera. Encore Careers isn't just a second career, folks. It's a career in which you are combining and doing something for your community. So I would ask you, what are you doing with volunteer agencies? What are you doing with your groups? We have the biggest opportunity as a community college to be like an octopus and get all these tentacles out into the community. I would ask you again, what are you doing in relationship to that? Certainly, we know that you have health programs. We know that you have things that you are probably providing 90% of all the nurses in your communities. Hopefully that continues. Public safety. Most of us have had a rich history of having programs in law enforcement and criminal justice, whatever your terms happen to be, but that's a concern to them. Right now in Michigan, it's estimated that 85% of firemen and police are somehow connected to our community college. Whether it's in CEU training or whether it's in their original training. 90% of paramedics, first responders, are probably connected sometime. How are you getting that message out? The other thing I would encourage you to do is that when you talk about services or about programs, don't just talk about free classes. Most community colleges, if you go online, we have some sort of a program where we give reduced tuition to people, seniors. We need to look at those ages. I think Delta's been 60 since I've been there, and I've been at Delta 40 years, so it's been a long time. We need to reassess that. We need to look at other types of opportunities than just giving half tuition. Or some of you give tuition after, if there's available seats after your registration ends, we're all over the place. There's no consistency among us. But insert that word services. What are you doing with your library? What are you doing with your pools? What are you doing with all your centers and your services? Are you encouraging them to offer programs? Because as Larry said, the key thing is getting this group connected to your college, feeling that they are getting service from you, something of value, right? It's not something that's necessarily a class. That's probably the first thing we think about. So as we continue to think about it, remember that education and families are very closely connected. And another key word to use in your marketing is always family. However, as the boomers come on board, I will tell you that there's something different that is happening. It's the largest group that's coming through that has mixed families, or that it's the largest group of people who currently are not married because of what's been happening sociologically with the divorce rate, et cetera. So don't talk about the family in the traditional way, because you're going to turn off the boomers. All right? Be careful how you do that. I would encourage you to make sure that you get your message segmentation out there so that it is connected to who the seniors are in your community, and get your marketing people to understand who the seniors are, because it's different. We serve 3 communities. I have become very connected in all 3 communities, and I will tell you, like I'll give you an example, Midland has one of the highest PhDs averages than any of the counties in the state. They're highly educated in Midland, and what they're looking for is very different. I do very different senior programs over there. When I do programs that are in Bay, which is very agricultural based and has a lower per capita educational level, we do different things. The computer classes I offer in both are different. I don't want you to think one size fits all. It doesn't when we're talking about seniors.